Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Like you already mentioned, this is a non-controversial agreement, and we want to thank the government, Minister of Finance, and the European Commission for entering into such a viable agreement for the people of this country. And as the people's representative, we should support this agreement because it's a grant. We should applaud the government, the Ministry of Finance particularly so, to have entered such an agreement that will bring budget support and to support a lot of other areas. To bring resilience for the unforeseeable shocks that probably may occur, and it will improve fiscal space. It will support resource mobilization, to support food security, women agriculture, and a lot of other areas. 90 million euros, 55% for budget support. So this is good. This is not controversial. We want to thank the Ministry and the European Union for such a gesture. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chairman. Leader of the opposition.
Yes, Mr. Speaker, honorable members. This has been one of the shortest debates I've had from the chairman of the Finance Committee. I know he wants us to go to the budget. But like everybody said, the speaker said, and like you said, it is not controversial. We as Leoneans want the best for our country, and we want to see budgetary support that will change the lives of our people. We've always said that this support must be reflected in the daily living of the ordinary Sierra Leoneans. Like we said, we are not opponents to the development of this country. We are opponents to the development of this country. We want Sierra Leone to be very competitive. When you call people from other nations, they must be very well aware that you come from a serious state. So we don't want anything that will retrogress the progress, this country would make. That is why I want to seize this opportunity to advise those end users, those who are going to make use of these funds, to be judicious and to put the people of this country at the center of any decision they will make. Of course, the 65 million is a direct support, direct budgetary support, and the 25 is a complementary support. So we want to emphatically state, especially when the complementary support, we look at resource mobilization, how we'll be able as a nation to generate our own resources. Because when you look at the deficit from the budget, we all know that NRA and the resource mobilization of our nation should be stepped up so that we get more money to reduce the deficit in our budget. Also, this support is to mitigate against the internal and external shocks. Of course, you heard from the budget speech made by the minister that so many factors affect the budget. These are not exclusive of internal and external shocks. So we should ensure at all costs that this money is used to mitigate against these shocks. Also, the support looks at education, social protection, rural development, environment resilience, and all. So we as opposition, without wasting time, I want to follow the step of the chairman of the Finance Committee. We as opposition want to assure the general public that we will not go against anything that is meant to develop this country, because we are also citizens of this country. We want the best for our people and will support anything that will care to promote the living condition of our people. So without wasting time, I want to employ my colleagues on this other side to expeditiously approve their agreement and want to hold responsible those who are going to expend this money to make sure that they do it with their consciences and they put the people at the center of every decision they would make. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
I want to thank the honorable leader of the opposition for his wonderful contribution in the progress of our country and for supporting such a productive agreement that will support the budget performance and be positive. Leader of government business, do you have coffee?
The coffee makes us strong, better off. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, colleagues, for your contributions, also the chairman of the opposition. This is a state and resilience building contract document we're about to ratify. The sum total of this contract is 90 million euro. It's divided into two components according to Article 1 of the agreement. It's divided first. The first component is directly support that has to do with 65 million euro. The second component is the 25 million euro, which is supplementary for any other activities that we would like to take by the ministry. But you have to clarify, when you look at under Article 1, there is something I want you to clarify. There is $225 million appearing. I don't know if they're speaking to OPC, because they're talking about extended support. It's the same component. Under the same article, as said by my leader of the opposition, there is no co-financing from the partners, and the partner in this case is Minister of Finance. So it's a complete grant based on, we have not seen the other articles. I know this is coming from agreement that you have done an excerpt of what you have. So based on our constitutional provision, we are about to ratify it. And there are also provisions. I listened to my colleague on the other side talking about you have to use your conscience for the good of everybody to use this money. If you go back to Article 7 of the same agreement, you can realize that under the European Anti-Fraud Office, the activities will be facilitated are purely based on the anti-corruption drive. That is why they said in the agreement, the two addresses, one from the European Union and the Ministry of Finance, who is the partner, and they use anti-corruption as a drive for any anti-money laundering or whatever fraud that has to do with the implementation of the fund, because it's a grant. So, Madam Minister, don't forget, on the 31st of December 2024, this year, you are supposed to submit all of what you have agreed, the procedure, the processes involved in the internal agreement. It's really stated in Article 7, my memory can serve me well. So you really have to look at it and make sure all implementations are geared towards what they have asked for. Beyond, if you don't do those implementations, if you don't take the procedures that has to do with internal arrangement of the disbursement of funds, Mr. Speaker, there is not going to be any activities. So they are giving you a deadline of 31st December 2024. So it's clearly stated in the agreement. Mr. Speaker, I heard the minister talking about climate change resilience, agriculture, etc. Then I heard my colleague on the other side talking about we budget deficits, trying to see is a direct support to the budget. Yes. If you go back to under the rubric, page 13 of the presidential speech, emanating from 109, 110, 101, etc., etc., you realize that the president did talk about mobilization of external resources. I made reference support of agriculture and other policies drive that can strengthen the administration of this government. That is one. Secondly, when you go back, this is under the external mobilization. This one is forming part of that component that gives an insight of what is coming in the budget. Under the macroeconomic development 2024 of the budget under discuss now, if you go to page 4 and page 5, both of them, starting from page 4, under the same rubric, Mr. Speaker, you can realize that they are talking about so many things. In fact, when we are under the microeconomic or budgetary performance in 2020, we had a good look at the outlook of the budget of economic performance was really good in 2020. Mr. Speaker, even in this budget, we get shock. I heard you talking about shock, but the shocks and how do we mitigate the shocks? What are the preparations? In fact, for you to get an external support, partner in terms of development, budgetary support, has to do with proper fiscal management. And fiscal management has to be with the implementation of those fiscal policies that you have put in place. So first, I will say kudos to you, Madam Minister, and your team. It's not only rolling out the policies, but enforcing the policies and see how these policies can do it. Because these are benchmarks. They are not giving you grants because you are so Israeli, because we are sitting on the West Coast, we are a post-war country, just because we are saying we are poor, so they can give us grants. Depends on certain benchmarks. So that's why they are divided in component, and they have stated is grant, but there are monitoring parameters they have set in place. Now let's go back to the macroeconomic, this budget we have now, the 2025 budget that they are read. Go back to page 4 to page 5, you realize that under the macroeconomic development 2024, they have talked about the challenge we have in domestic revenue mobilization. In 2022, the minister did say there is a decline. There is a decline in revenue mobilization, and I had my colleague talking about how do we salvage our debt. We have to take note of that. But the economy has increased sharply from 4 billion to that of $4 billion to that of $8 billion. And so that it has increased exponentially, Mr. Speaker. Under the same rubric, page 4 of the budget speech you have on page 5. Under the same rubric, you realize that the per capita is a support. We are talking about how we are very clean in terms of our consistency in terms of policy, right?
Mr. Leader, is this a bit good? I want you to reserve that for the budget.
No, I have long time trying to draw the attention of consistency in terms of policies. Even when I was doing my debate, you are not around. I said even the paragraphs we have in the presidential speech are very consistent in our policies. So do our policies. So these three documents you have seen, they are intertwined. The support, because I did say under the external mobilization, when I was debating, I did say our reference is based on what we have seen our projections. Exactly. So I'm drawing your attention again to the budgetary support from 2020 to 2022. It's stated in this one. They stand them with this document in front of us. Mr. Speaker, even our per capita, if you check the budget, in the same budget we have, these are things that we are looking at. There are challenges. You have talked about the challenges. The final per capita is $492 as to $857. So what you are saying, the $492 too, there's an exponential increase to $857. That tells us that, hold on please, that tells us that we as a government are in charge of the administration of this country. We are cognizant of the fact that there is consistency in policies. Our benchmarks are very clear. That is why we are getting these grants. That is what we are getting. Mr. Leader, when I'm talking, please, with all respect to you, sir, give me audience. I am talking, you have raised my points, my position here is to make sure I roll government policy in terms of document that has come to this parliament and how has they been rolled out as policy making. I'm not just talking. That's why I'm very consistent in making references to my policies. So you have to be comfortable that they are debating. And this document has to do with climate change. And in this document you have for the budget in front of us, there's a whole section of climate change. There's a whole section of climate financing. And she has told us about climate financing. This is a grant. So we need to draw the attention of people that we don't just get this money and we misuse them. Listen to your leader. He has appealed to the conscience of people. How do we dispose and discharge and use this money? Mr. Speaker, we need to be consistent and make sure that what we are doing here is not rhetoric, it's not just talking. Let us talk something that will move the minds of our people to what is happening. Mr. Speaker, even this budgetary to have support, we cannot be only relying on donor support all the time. The minister said there is a decline, which my colleague on the other side said, if there is a challenge in domestic revenue mobilization, challenging to salvage our debt, it's a huge problem. But they said, even this one, if you check again in the same, under the same rubric, macroeconomic development, it's talking about the resilience of our economy. The resilience of our economy. And they said at least they have made projections. The projections said the economy will grow at least 4.4%. That's what they have said. But from the time, from 2022, because of the difficulty we had, based on the post-corona we had in the country, the effects really shocked us during 2022. Now they are saying there is a growth in the economy from that time to present from 5.3% to 5.7%. We have to reckon with that. These are policy statements made by the minister in this budget in front of us. So, Mr. Speaker, I'm just drawing the attention of colleagues that in as much as we are debating, some of these instruments we have ratified, these instruments we have in front of us, is for us to look at them and how do we perform our oversight responsibilities. This is going for grant budgetary support, which people are going to benefit, as she has rightly stated, in climate change, supporting agriculture. In fact, if you have read the budget, you can realize that budget diversification, and there is now a huge budget increment, basically coming from the agricultural sector. We are convenient with that. But our policy is right in terms of our oversight responsibilities and to enforce implementation of some of these grants we are getting, external mobilization, external resources we are getting. It's not because we are sitting on the West Coast. It's because we should enforce proper fiscal policies and fiscal measures to make sure that these grants we are getting, even loans, Mr. Speaker, make sure they are implemented properly. Thank you very much, and I hope that, Madam Minister, you can make clarification about the 225 million I'm seeing in the document to be clarified. Thank you very much.
For his contribution and for setting the record straight. Madam Minister.
Mr. Speaker, honorable members, the first 25 million euros is saying that the total estimated cost is 25 million, and the second 25 is saying that the maximum EU support for that complementary part will be 25 million. So that is the distinction between the first 25 and the second 25 million. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, I want to acknowledge and appreciate this House for recognizing all the benefits as listed in this agreement. This agreement, without going into this debate, will benefit the people of Sierra Leone, and I want to extend my gratitude on behalf of the Honorable Minister of Finance to this Honorable House. I cannot agree more with what the leader of government business said. As you know, the first part is budgetary support of 65 million euros. Because it is budgetary support, as the name implies, it is directly tied to the budget, which means, like he just explained, our part of delivery on this agreement is to make sure that everything as it relates to climate change, it relates to poverty, it relates to women and youth employment, is to make sure that that budget is executed as delivered to this Honorable House. So again, my sincere appreciation to the House for, as you consider the budget, the 2025 budget, let us also keep in mind that some of these agreements that are ratified here have direct connections to the budget. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, be it resolved that this Honorable House hereby ratifies the following agreement, which was laid on the table of the House on Thursday, 21st November 2024. Financing agreement between the European Commission and the Republic of Sierra Leone on the Nature Nourishes SRBC in Sierra Leone dated 29th August 2024.
The question is that this Honorable House hereby ratifies the following agreement which was laid on the table of the House on Thursday, 21st November 2024. Financing agreement between the European Commission and the Republic of Sierra Leone on Nature Nourishes SRBC in Sierra Leone dated 29th August 2024. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it.
Government portion and the Minister of Finance has been ratified.
Bill, the Appropriation Act 2025, second allotted day, debate continues. The Minister of Finance.
Mr. Speaker, before the Minister, there was a ruling yesterday by Mr. Speaker that we would like to see all heads of MDs today for the budget. So can the clerk please give us or do a roll call of MDs that are here so we know? Because the ruling was very clear. Any MD that failed to come today is or her budget to be removed. Thank you.
I am sure the lower gallery is full, and my assumption is most of the members in the lower gallery are coming from ministries, departments, and agencies. Am I right? And there are others to my right. I see Mr. Prince Bill, the Director General of SLBC is also here, and few others. So my assumption is we have most of the ministries, departments, and agencies present today. Is that correct? Yes. Chief, can we accommodate that instead of taking a vote? Yes.
I concede, Mr. Speaker. Grateful for your intervention.
Grateful. I now give the floor to the Honorable Dr. Ufa S.G. Kuroma.
Good morning, Mr. Speaker, honorable members. I want to preface my intervention to this debate by referencing a publication by Concern Worldwide that states that Sierra Leone, that after years of economic improvement, the World Bank recorded a dramatic increase in inflation rates between 2021 at 11.9 and 2022 at 27.2, and that the hardship has left most of the people vulnerable in Sierra Leone and have left them further behind. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, 59% of our population in Sierra Leone, that is 4,987,000 in 2021, are seen as being multi-dimensionally poor, while an additional 21.3% are classified as vulnerable to multi-dimensional poverty, and that amount is 1,790,000 people. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, I would like to talk on so many issues on this debate, but I think today I will channel my intervention to mostly the forgotten of our society. I would like to talk about agriculture, but time will not permit. I would like to talk about healthcare, education, but time will not permit. So today, Mr. Speaker, honorable members, I'll be talking about social protection programs, social protection safety programs. We want to take cognizance and acknowledge the theme of this debate, of this budget, which states that the government wants to improve the well-being and quality of life of Sierra Leoneans. And consistently, in the last budget, the government wanted to restore macroeconomic stability to stabilize protecting the poor and vulnerable. But Mr. Speaker, honorable members, however, for the sake of argument, and though a lot of MPs in their respective debates have given a name to this budget, but for the sake of argument, let's say, for example, or let's agree that the government wants to improve the well-being and quality of life of the people of this country. Let us also assume that the government indeed wants to restore macroeconomic stability while protecting the poor and vulnerable. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, I want to say emphatically that the assertions have remained an irony, because unfortunately, the poor and the vulnerable have not been protected in the 2024 Finance Act, nor do we see a positive trend that is happening that will point that they intend to protect the poor and the vulnerable. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, let's go straight to social protection. And social protection, it's on page 36. Page 36, paragraph 127, Mr. Speaker. Let us go, the government in the respective budget from 2021, from 2024 and the 2025 budget, the numbers given to social protection programs have not changed. 8.3 million has been given to those programs, but to put them in perspective, that is 8.3 billion only owns. So in the 2025 budget, government is allocating 240 million, which is 240 billion only owns to NACSA for wages and salaries. Government also gave 18 billion only owns to NACSA for wages and salaries, which means there's an increase in wages and salaries. But we've not seen an increase in wages in the programs that government has given to the social protection social protection, Mr. Speaker, honorable members. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, I want to, with your leave, Mr. Speaker, bring it to page 37 and paragraph 129. Paragraph 129, which states that social welfare is allocated the sum of 23 million from the current budget, and 13 million is for social safety net programs, including diet for approved schools, programs for the disabled, and that to ensure our institutions provide support for our compatriots affected by drug abuse. This, I must state, Mr. Speaker, is something we as an opposition have been looking forward to, because since we passed the emergency on drugs, we've not seen a deliberate effort by government to see how we can fight the KUSH menace, which, by way of this debate, we also call this budget a KUSH budget. But we've not seen a deliberate effort by government to see how we can rehabilitate the young Sierra Leoneans that have been victimized by this drug. So 223 million has been given to social welfare, and I must state that the same amount was given in 2024. And what is more alarming, Mr. Speaker, honorable members, is the fact that even though monies have been given to social safety nets across the board, year in and year out, and the budget is posing that monies have been given for the elderly, we've not seen a way where social safety protection nets have been institutionalized, which means there have been cash payouts in communities. Our question here is, which communities are receiving this cash payout? To give you a perspective on why it is so alarming, I want to bring the House to Annex 11. Annex 11, in the summary of social spending, Madam Minister, we want you to tell us, how do the aged population get their cash transfers? We want to know how the aged population gets their cash transfers. Because when you go to communities, respective communities in our country, across Sierra Leone, you will see elderly people begging on our streets. When you go to I went to a restaurant yesterday in Waterloo, by the way, I don't remember here, and I saw 2 young children begging. 2 young children begging, and this is a pattern across Sierra Leone. If you go to my constituency in Calabar Town, we have underage children. We have underage children selling on the street. We might be comfortable here this way, sitting in this cozy parliament.
Please let's confine our under two.
Yes, and Mr. Speaker, no, listen, we have to protect the members of parliament. Every member of parliament will have an opportunity to.
It is my responsibility to protect him.
Thank you.
Mr. Speaker, I mean, this is serious. We are here in this parliament because we are representing people. And it is unfortunate that I will make a statement like that and I do not get an applaud from across seats in this parliament. It's unfortunate because we are here representing people. And the poverty is abject. And the poverty is glaring. The suffering is massive. We cannot deny that. So when we stand here and talk, we are not criticizing government. We are asking what as a nation we can do for the poor and desperate Sierra Leoneans. So as I was stating, I was in Waterloo yesterday when I was approached by 2 children begging. I mean, these are working hours, school hours, and these children were begging. You drive home every day, and you have children selling on the street. So social safety protection net, we should be asking NASCA. We should not be jarring at the member of parliament because he's raising this question. We should be asking NASCA. We should be having social welfare. What are they doing with this money? We should, as a country, see how we can institutionalize this funding so that our elderly, the aged, the young children that are poor, our desperate Sierra Leoneans can get the support that they need. Mr. Speaker, if you go to annex on loans and you look consistently, the amount of loans that we've received from multilateral institutions and bilateral loans, there are over 15 of them. Huge amounts of money. These are money that Sierra Leoneans will have to pay for. Huge amount of money. But if we are collecting these monies and the poor people continue to suffer and continue to perish, and we sit here and act like nothing is happening, it's unfortunate. So that is why I've made a conscientious effort to ensure that we talk about social protection safety net, we talk about what is going to social services, we talk about what is left for the aged population. By the way, Sierra Leone ranks around one of the countries wherein you retire before you reach the age of 61. And if you go to developed nations, people are retiring at the age of 65 and even 67 or 72. So by the way, I have news for you. The United States of America, people are retiring after the age of 65. And some states people are retiring after the age of 67. So for us, all of us, majority of us will be retired. If there are no funds or institutionalized funds for the elderly, we will all be poor Sierra Leoneans by the time we retire. So when we talk here, we're not talking politics. It is our responsibility under God and man to make sure we provide and cater and advocate on behalf of our people. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, I will not end and not talk about road infrastructure and the lack of road infrastructure in my community, Mayankine. In 2020, the former minister, Joseph Safa, went on a signing, and they signed an agreement of 49 billion leones. And some of the roads, he said, the project will see SLRA construct 41 roads in the west area, in and out of the western area. But up to date, Mayankine Road has not been constructed. I must give it to the government. Yes, indeed, the road from Furniture to Grafton has been completed. We appreciate that for people of us that are from the west or eastern part of Freetown. But we want to see where they spend the rest of this money. My Kine Road needs intervention. It is a death trap, Mr. Speaker. People that reside in that community cannot drive up the road. Even if you sit on a bike, you cannot get to the top of the road without walking. And on that note, Mr. Speaker, I want to call on this parliament to consider the funding going to the Sierra Leone Broadcasting Corporation. It is a disgrace that a national broadcasting corporation as the Sierra Leone Broadcasting Corporation cannot even compete with AYV TV. We need to give funds to Sierra Leone Broadcasting Corporation. And on that note, Mr. Speaker, honorable members, I want us to remember that we're here to serve the poor people. If we are comfortable, let's remember the people that are suffering and let's seek to see how we can change their lives. It is an obligation for us, under God and man. I thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
I want to thank the honorable member for his contribution to the
agenda for prosperity.
I want to thank the honorable member and to also remind all of us that government, like we usually say, is continuity and is progression. Whatever that is happening today, we have to see it as a continuation of something that started. So we must take note of the progressions that are taking place over time, and we get there as a country. We should collaborate instead of compete. I now give the floor to the Honorable Charles Abulai. The Honorable Jonas Amibia.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, let me start my intervention by thanking the Minister and his team for putting this document together that we are debating in Parliament since yesterday. Mr. Speaker, let me just mention something relating to what my colleague just said in his intervention about social protection. This is a responsible government, my brother. Thank you. You mentioned that there is frantic effort. There is now projection for social protection that there are going to be rehabilitation centers for our compatriots that are victims of KUSH. Thank you very much. And also to allay the fear of my colleague yesterday, the Honorable from Bombali, who said this is a KUSH budget. My brother, if you went through this before your intervention, this document, and you really understood well, that statement would have not come from you. But anyway, for your education, let me take you to certain areas that after my intervention, you will realize that this is a responsible government.
Hold on, I have a point of order.
Mr. Speaker, just about a few minutes ago, the leader over there mentioned that when we give chance to our colleagues speak. Me myself, when I was doing my contribution, making real comparative analysis, giving an insight of the budget and the agreement in front of us. We are busy making some noise, I can't understand. I have to stop the meeting of opposition. Right. He has to listen to me when I'm speaking. Because I'm speaking something that has to do with our government policies. He was talking and I have so many times I've raised objections. I refuse to do so because I wanted to listen. So we are now going to reply, and they are still doing the same thing. The undertones can be confirmed to undertones. Undertones are undertones, but if they tend to overtone is something else. They raise the issues, and I want them to comply. You don't raise the issue. You don't make law when it's time they are convenient at a particular point in time. You talk about issues where you think can affect all of us for the good of the chamber. So I'm just drawing attention that if they continue to be that way, they tend to become noisy and not listen to one another. So if the opposition leader has raised the issue, that we have to give decorum to our police speaking, so likely we do on both sides. So I want to urge everybody that we yield to that and we respect the ruling that you made very recently. If you have to do that, do it widely. Thank you.
Yes, Mr. Speaker.
It's not a debate, my brother.
The date will come on Wednesday. But I was expecting the leader of government business to have raised it whilst Honorable from Calbaton was talking. Because the loudest cacophony of innuendos was heard when he was talking. That was the loudest cacophony of the members we had in this one. So we want to protect all members of parliament regardless of the side they belong. If a member of parliament on that side is talking for the respect of the public, it should be heard. If a member of this on this side is talking for the respect of our listening public and for the respect of the budget, it should be heard. So we should not only defend when it comes to our own member of parliament and leave it, the masses to the other member of parliament. You know, the loudest cacophony of this was
Mr. Speaker, I said I don't want to introduce the debate. We had a responsibility to listen because when I was speaking, you of all people, your deputy was busy, you are busy. Beyond the normal on that too, I had it very clear, I had to react so that we can get decorum in each other. So if that one continues during your colleagues' debate on your own side, you just have to raise the issues. And I was expecting that you as the leader, you have done so. We should respect the view directly coming from you. But as soon as Honorable Charles started speaking, he did the same. So it's matter of convenience. So what I'm saying, on that tone, I cannot go against you standing others. Other tones are other tones. You just have to moderate us. Keep it on that tones. Keep it on that tones. You cannot kill it standing others. You have the right to keep on that tones. So let's not control the way we handle the other tones. That's what I'm saying. If you want the public to enjoy the debate, let's confine ourselves to on that tone. For Wednesday, you can get you don't know who is going to come with the shells to debate on Wednesday. Don't worry, that's what we're talking about. Thank you.
I want to thank the two leaders and I want to admonish members, please. When once we start the list like this, particularly the presidential address and the budget, we always advocate that we have in our presence the national broadcaster and the AYV to warn the coverage of the debate. And the listening public will not enjoy the debate at all if our undertones are affecting the debate and the voice pop. So please, particularly in front, those in front, you should lead by example for those at the back. Because at the back bench, most times you understand what will happen. Honorable Senior Johnny, go to your seat. Similarly, Honorable Fofana, go to your seat. So please, let's conduct ourselves in the best way for the listening public to understand and enjoy the debate. Honorable Chazabulai.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. An old man becomes so easy when rivals are mentioned in proverb. Anyway, thank you, Speaker. I want to start my intervention again right from this morning. The agreement we've just approved. This is one of the enablers for the projections we've made for 2025. For those of you who are in doubt of what we can achieve in 2025, this is one of the enablers. 65 million euros direct budgetary support that will enable us to implement all those who have planned to achieve in 2025. 2025. Let me start again with something which the minister said in his opening speech, which I consider as a executive summary, the introductory part that encompasses all what is in this text. That is cognizant of the fact that we had external shocks that actually impacted negatively on our economic performance in the past 2 years. But as a responsible government, and as our experts worked over the clock, 24 hours over the clock, we are able to mitigate most of these shocks, whether it was internal or external. One, the galloping inflation, is now reducing. Of course, our Leone is getting stabilized gradually. Also, the third one, as mentioned, please, Mr. Speaker, allow me to just read this text because it is very, very important. In response, in 2023-2024, to mitigate the impact of the shocks and correct policy slippages
What paragraph?
Paragraph 1 in introduction. With proactive monetary policy has begun to bear fruits. Economic recovery remain resilient. The fiscal and trade deficits are narrowing. Inflation is decelerating, and the Leone being relatively stable with positive implementation of improved living conditions. This encompasses this whole text. I now come to the achievements of this government in the past 22 months. The thing is, people don't read, people don't comprehend. Maybe that's the reason why people argue most of these things. I take you to paragraph 2. The EU, that is one of our internal donors, the major internal donors for this country, has confidence in this government. Of course, this is no joke. You see, they have approved the ECF, that is the extended credit facility, to the tune of $253 million for the next 3 years. That's the confidence they have in this government. This is a responsible government. As there was a time in this country, we all know, all donors, the IMF, sorry.
This is it for me to hear. I will tell you.
This IMF has confidence in this government. I said the internal donors, one of our internal donors, the major, that is EU. But this text I'm reading is for IMF that has approved this particular. Yes, the $253 million, the ECF, the extended credit facility. Also, the approval of new programs has paved the way for negotiation of another programs under resilience. You see, I want to refer colleagues and all of us to look at the achievements as mentioned by the minister. From Roman figure 1 to 23, pages 1 to 2, 3. All what this government has achieved are highlighted here. If you go through this text, most of the arguments, most of the submissions, will be narrowed to the extent that most people will not have anything to debate negative, except the positive aspects of this particular budget. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, I take you to the projections of 2025 under pages 37, 38, paragraphs 133 to 139. Roads, infrastructure and technology. If you look at those pages, the projections made for 2025 will benefit pages 37 and 38. Infrastructure and technology, under roads, a lot of goodies are there for especially our in-laws here. From the south, the east, the north, a lot of monies have been allocated to accomplish or to do new roads. For those already that are in place to be accomplished, of course, let's look at the following roads and bridges. With your leave, Mr. Speaker. Kabala Falaba, Limbaya, junction to Guinea borders. Green Lungi, that's the home of the leader, the opposition leader. This budget is benefiting almost all of us here. Why the argument?
The evidence,
that's what I'm saying.
Yes.
The opposition leader, Lungi, Green. What is it? What is the arguments about? 50 million, further 50 million bills is allocated for sports improvements of major highways for the regraveling and selected truck roads. This is not the benefit for all of us. When you had accident, all this while people are grumbling. We want to pay the roads to Tagri, Longe, Tagri, Makeni, Falaba. Come on, can we give kudos to this government?
Mr. Speaker, I'm going to refer to me.
No, it did not.
Refer to me. Didn't you hear opposition leader is from Mugi? It seems as if you are doing all that thing. He referred to me directly. And let me make clarification on what he said. I'm from Mugi. I'm born all of my life, I live there. He referred to me and he stated the road in Lungi. I want to now just, it's a point of order which you've done on several occasions.
What's your point of order?
Yes, I'm standing on 34, sir. 34. And you have your book. Yeah, yes, and you said the road from Tagri to Lungi is to the airport is in the budget. Let me make clarification.
Hold on. You are standing on 34-1 is for me, and if you are drawing my attention,
it's a point of order, sir.
34-1 is for me. If you are drawing my attention to the deviation, it should stop at that.
No, that's why I want to clarify the deviation.
You are drawing my attention to it, and I should address it.
No, let me. I cannot just draw your attention without telling you the deviation. I want to make the deviation clear to you, so that you can use your discretion to either tell him to withdraw or to tell him to. That's why. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, sir, Mr. Speaker. He said that the road from Tagri to Lungi to the airport is in the budget. I want him to clearly note that the road from Tagri to the airport has been done by the previous government, and the road from the airport to Conakry has been on the budget since this government came to office in 2018 every year, but nothing has been done. Nothing has been done about that road.
You want to? Mr. Speaker, the honorable very simple. This is a budget, it's a proposal. And what the MP has said, that those rules have been mentioned in the budget. The fact of the matter is, it has been mentioned in the budget. And we are debating this budget.
Mr. Leader, I hope you know my point.
I know your point.
My point is
when you are
that road could be fixed. My point is that road could be fixed in only 1 year or less than 1 year.
Do you want to wait?
It has been in your budget 2018. Nothing was done 2019. Nothing was done 2020. Nothing was done 2021, 22, 23, and even this one is in the budget.
Okay, I want to tell you, Mr. Speaker, all of the roads in Sierra Leone have been mentioned in the budget from 2007 to 2008. None was done. Go to Bo, go to Canada, go to Canada. Order, please. These are budget, these are proposals. Order, please. Leaders, please take over.
Mr. Leader, with all due respect, not all the roads are
I know the roads are
not all.
But
With all due respect.
ESO 32-2. I cannot accommodate two people at the same time. ESO 34-1 is for a member, if I have not had, to draw my attention to a deviation. It is my prerogative to address the deviation. And I will say clearly that the issue of mentioning an item in the budget is in fulfillment of Section 35 of the Public Financial Management Act. The budget is laid out for 3 years. The proposal of the fiscal strategy statement is for 3 years. So if a particular item is mentioned in line with the provision of the law, and that item was not fulfilled in year 1, year 2, it is also incumbent on the ministry to follow the provisions of the Public Financial Management Act to ensure that it is consistent with the law. So if the Conakry Road is under that particular subject matter, I see no reason why it should be a subject of debate. Honourable member, continue.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Relating to the rules also, I'm one of the beneficiaries and even the Deputy Finance Minister. Only this morning I saw.
Why should remind you that you have 1.5 minutes?
I had a lot of interruptions, Mr. Speaker.
Every interruption, hold on, every interruption, I stop the time.
Okay, the road from Bo to Matrujon, only this morning I saw on the media, on the social media, that the asphalt that has the importation of the asphalt machine for the tarmac came, I think, a week ago, a few days back, and when I saw the Minister and the Director General inspecting the container or the machines, so that's kudos to some of us, including the Deputy Minister, for our roads from Matruna to Botan. Also, the energy sector, of course, that's one my chair, I think we are now moving from.
I'm sure you should leave the rest of your game back to your chairman.
Yes, my chairman will do that. No, Mr. Speaker, let me just educate my brothers or my colleagues on this economic hardship.
No, you may not have that time, sorry.
Okay,
you may not have that time, I'm sorry.
Okay, it all started in 2012 when we had the boom in the mining sector. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much. I want to thank the honorable member for his wonderful contribution to the debate, and to also state that please, when you want to catch my attention, do it properly and come with all the facts, because otherwise I will not allow you to interrupt unnecessarily. We are in a debate and the public must benefit out of the debate. I now give the floor to, I cannot see the member that I want to go right. Where is it?
Good morning, Mr.
The Honorable Ibrahim Bayi. Oh, his eyes. I cannot see.
Stand up.
Thank you so much, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, honorable members. Indeed, the budget is one of the most important documents that we need to pay keen attention to, because it is the tool that outlines how the government plans to finance its development plans in terms of addressing critical gaps in our society. To re-echo the words of our leader, as the opposition, we are here to ensure we checkmate the government to achieve a sustainable budget and also ensure we hold you to account. We are doing this without any politics. We are doing this for the sake of the good of this country. Mr. Speaker, on the 2025 budget, I want to start with something that is really emotional for our young people. The issue of KUSH and the youth neglect. Mr. Speaker, this government had declared a national public health emergency on KUSH. I remember the day that the majority leader facilitated for us to play video here showing deplorable situation for our young people that triggered the president to declare a national public health emergency. Not just that, we also, as a government, we saw the establishment of National Task Force and District Health Task Force. So when I studied the budget, Mr. Speaker, I was curious. 2 weeks ago, I visited the KUSH Rehabilitation Center in Makeni. I was curious to see what is in the budget for KUSH. Again, Mr. Speaker, let me repeat that. When I was looking at the budget, I was very curious to see what is in the budget for KUSH. Mr. Speaker, if we go to paragraph 74 on health, Roman X, it is the only part in this entire budget. Paragraph 74, Roman X, is the only part in this entire budget where a commitment was made that said expand mental health prevention and treatment capacity, including response to the KUSH epidemic. Mr. Speaker, what caught my attention is the fact that the institution that is mandated, that is tasked with the responsibility to fight this menace, the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, the same amount that was allocated to this institution in 2024, if you go to the Appropriation Act 2024, Code 212, is 2 million new loans and 75,000. That was before the declaration of KUSH as a public health emergency. Now, 2025, the Appropriation Act, when you go again to this same area, it is the same amount. No difference, nothing has been added there. In fact, less has been allocated to the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency compared to institutions like the Africa Peer Review Mechanism, the Office of the Chief Minister. So the question is, Mr. Speaker, are we really honest? Are we really serious to tackle the fight against KUSH? Are we really serious to protect our young people? Are we really serious to save the young people of this country? No. Mr. Speaker, these are the people who campaigned, who championed, who fought for most of us to be where we are. Mr. Speaker, the reason we are here today was because we were protected by the system. That's the more reason why we are here today. Today, our young people are vulnerable to this situation. Mr. Speaker, the budget only vaguely mentions KUSH in paragraph 74. And the other thing that is very interesting in this budget, if you go now to paragraph 147 and paragraph 148, under what is allocated to the Ministry of Youth, you will see something that says, for example, in paragraph 148, it says, from the domestic capital budget, an amount of 19.6 million allocated to the Ministry of Youth, of which 8.6 million is to support youth in agribusiness, youth in fisheries, youth in KUSH, establishment of youth economic empowerment funds. Nothing for the establishment of rehabilitation centers for drug victims.
Honorable Member, can I hold you there? Yeah. Because the issue for the establishment of rehabilitation centers is in the Ministry of
Social Protection. As by
these are the things that we should not do. We should not skew the debate to attract political votes. We should state the facts as they are, as provided for by law. I am very serious. This is serious. It is not debate, it is clarification. The ministries, they have specific responsibilities. And it was an emergency that this House passed. And at the passage of that emergency legislation, a ministry was clearly stated. So we must stick with the instrument that we pass. We must not be swerving, moving up and down, and trying to win points to score points.
Mr. Speaker. No, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, it is quite unfortunate for you who is presiding over a sitting of this nature to tell the member of parliament that he hasn't the right to state what he is stating, which is directly from the document he is holding. Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Leader, hold on. You are saying I am telling the Honorable that he should not say what he wants to say from a document. I did not say so. I said the issue of KUSH that he's talking about, as provided for by the document that he has referenced. He has given us specific references. And the references he started with was from the appropriation. And in the appropriation bill, the allocation for KUSH was under the Ministry of Social Welfare and not Youth. So if he's speaking on an issue on paragraph 148 that is unconnected to his subject matter, I think I have the
no, right to Mr. Speaker, let me make this very clear to you. One of the responsibilities of MPs and the minister is to make clarifications. That is why after the entire debate, the minister has the right to come in and make certain clarification. I'm sure you should be a neutral person.
No, I'm looking at the umpire. Okay, let me tell you what umpire does. If you have watched games where they have umpires, what umpire done is to interpret the rules. That's what the umpire does.
So how did he go against the rule?
The rule is he is debating a subject, and the subject is related to a ministry. Now he's moving the subject to another ministry trying to paint a picture that this ministry has been undersourced. So that is what the umpire is. The umpire is to tap it.
No, Mr. Speaker, a good umpire does not take sides. I have never seen you correcting members on this other side. You are just focusing. No, you are just focusing on this side.
Hold on, leader. Hold on. I am a very good umpire. Yesterday, the honorable deputy leader, two of the House, wanted to quote a particular standing order. I wound him out of order and I asked him to
on track.
No, standing order is different from the debate.
That's the debate.
Mr. Speaker, I have known you to be a very good debater. And I know that you are constrained because you do not have your opportunity.
No, I am not. The speaker is coming.
So, Mr. Speaker, just leave the members of parliament to do it for us.
No, I am not. Let us.
When the speaker is there, you can do what you are doing. But for now, just allow the member of parliament to make his point.
No, the member of parliament is going to make his point. If a point is made by a member, whether on my right or on my left, and if it is inconsistent with the fact, I will say it. The honorable by you.
Mr. Speaker.
Yes, sir.
The issue of youth, the sector, the group of people that is most affected is young people. It's young people. And the issue of KUSH is the greatest existential threat to young people. So if I'm talking about young people, I relate it to the Ministry of Youth. Basically, what I am doing here is to tell you that whilst we are allocating funds for the establishment of youth in CAD, youth in fishing, we are ignoring the most pressing problem affecting the young people. And Mr. Speaker, this is not political. This is not political.
And hold on, you're doing the same thing. And funds to address that issue that is existential in youth has been made available or allocated to the Ministry of Social Welfare.
It's okay, Mr. Speaker. The point I am making here.
I remember just 1 minute. I want you to take courage. That is what I suffered when I was behind there. The speaker will not interject any debater, but when Abu Kabu stands to talk, the speaker will interject. Interruption for you will be normal. So, Mr. Speaker, please, sir.
I'm not interrupting you. Let us go. Hold on.
Okay, Mr. Speaker.
I am not interrupting you. I am trying as best as possible that we keep to the principle of SO 63.3. Period. We confine ourselves to the document before us and the provisions in SO 63.3. That is what I'm doing, nothing more, nothing less.
Okay, Mr. Speaker, I want to ask a question. Where in this entire budget, has there been a commitment to establish rehabilitation centers for KUSH victims at district level? Show us where in this entire budget. Mr. Speaker, these things are not political. Nowhere in this budget. And it is a serious problem to a point that we declare this problem a national public health emergency. Mr. Speaker, our brothers are dying. The young people are dying. You go to the prison, 80% of the young people here are KUSH victims. So how can you prepare a budget and you don't allocate for rehabilitation centers? This is not politics.
Mr. Speaker.
Our role as government, we need to be open up to constructive criticism, and that is what government is about.
Let me just.
Okay.
Mr. Speaker, this is a budget. The budget will not state everything that government is going to achieve. The budget has provided funding for the Ministry of Social Welfare, and it is expected that the Ministry of Social Welfare should concentrate some of their activities on KUSH victims and rehabilitation centers. We already know we have established as a government rehabilitation centers for KUSH victims. That's no secret. And this is in Kitom. You know, in Kitom. There's a rehabilitation center in Kitom.
Are you offering a debate or are you making it?
No, but this is the budget. We should, like you said, we should confine ourselves to 63.
And I take your point, and I will state that for the avoidance of doubt, Madam Minister, take your seat. Madam Minister, please, by Monday, we agreed yesterday that we should have or receive the estimate. By Monday, let us receive the estimate. Because it is only the estimate that will tell us the details of all of these allocations, what they are meant for, what is meant for rehabilitation, what is meant for Konakribi, what is meant for Tokoliba, so that we understand exactly where these monies are going. Please, by Monday, let us have the estimate. The honorable buy.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. To conclude, on the issue of the KUSH. No, on the issue of the KUSH, I have what I asked to talk on. On the issue of the KUSH, to conclude, Mr. Speaker, I want to encourage this government to, the leader said, rehabilitation center in Kintom. A whole country, over how many districts? We are talking about one rehabilitation center in Kintom. No rehabilitation centers in the district. We need to prioritize that, Mr. Speaker. Let's have rehabilitation centers. And beyond the rehabilitation centers, I spoke to one KUSH rehabilitation center manager in Makeni. He told me that one of their worry is the issue of reintegration. It's the issue of reintegration.
You are creating problem. And now the problem you are creating, you just said that there is only one rehabilitation center in Kintom.
It's a private one in Makeni. He used his father's compound to support KUSH victims.
I agree.
And Mr. Speaker, the emphasis made. Yes, Mr. Chief Whip.
Without quoting relevant.
Mr. Chief Whip.
Can we please know the sign order is still?
Hold
on, Chief Whip.
Mr. Chief Whip, who are you to ask me for standing?
Hold on.
No, yeah, you should not. You don't question your leader. Actually, you don't question me.
I'm the Chief Whip.
Chief Whip for your party, not for me. I am senior to you in this parliament. So you don't know that. It's the age of Methuselah has nothing to do with the wisdom of Solomon. Do you think it is the length of a snake that determines how poisonous it is? No, you should be quiet once I'm talking. Once I'm talking, you should be quiet. You should be quiet. What you don't do to your leader, you should not do to me. What you don't do to your leader, you should not do to me.
Order, please.
Yeah?
Order.
Yes.
Hold on. Honorable leader on my right. Honorable leader on my right.
He is not the speaker.
Honorable leader on my left. Please take your seat. I know you are missing the travel. Please take your seat. What you have done, hold on. Honorable and the soldiers. Hold on. Firstly, let me start with the issue of leadership. In this standing order, there is no mention of reference to leadership. Every member is treated as a member in the standing order. Let me state that clearly. And the standing hold on. Order, let me state this. The standing order is protecting every member. That members should confine their statement or undertone to undertones. That is to say, respect should be meted to every member, whether member is given the floor. Yeah. And secondly, the language of the leader is unacceptable. That is not a leadership language. This is a house of law, it's a house of authority, and the authority of this parliament emanates mostly from the front bench. And the front bench should not be exchanging unpalatable and unfriendly words. It is against the standing order. I will not allow anybody to comment on it. I will give the Honorable Barry to continue his debate. Honorable Barry, continue.
Yeah, we meet after.
Mr. Speaker, I have never been frustrated in this house like today. It is sad the trajectory we are going as a house, to be honest. Let me move away from the KUSH and go to another important thing. You cannot be a government and then you don't want to be open to criticism. You don't. We are responsible people.
That's why
we are the people's representative.
That's why you
Mr. Speaker, let me move from the KUSH. I want to talk something on Makeni City. Mr. Speaker, this is an appeal that I'm making. Mr. Speaker, the regional government hospital in Makeni, the road leading to the regional government hospital is deplorable. I know other people will say, SO2, why would not be maker? Government is continuity. That's why you promised a new direction. We are appealing. This is the regional government hospital, not just for Makeni, but for Bombali, Tonkolili, Koinadugu, and Falaba. That road is so deplorable to an extent that it's causing pregnant women, patients in labor, unimaginable pain while seeking medical care. I want to use this opportunity to appeal to that to the government. So please consider that road. If there is no other road to prioritize, but at least for the sake of the pregnant women, our mothers, our sisters, let us prioritize that road. The road leading to the Makeni Regional Government Hospital. Please, it's an appeal that I'm making to this government. Another thing recently that affected Makeni, Mr. Speaker, the uninterrupted electricity supply has caused over 20 houses and fire eruption. And then the last time it affected Radio Maria, I was the one who went to the fire force to call them. They were on their way coming, and then the vehicle stopped. When we asked what was the problem, they said there was no fuel. I had to video them and record all of that. So on behalf of the people of Makeni, I want to recommend that development there should be equity in development. When one town or city benefits, the whole country benefits. Example today is the University of Makeni. Today, people are coming from Kailaun, Kujau to go and study law at the University of Makeni. When they graduate, they are not working for Unimark or Makeni. They are joining the judiciary of the country. People are going to do public health, PhD. When they graduate, they are adding to the human resource capital of this country. Let us see every city as part of a country. Let us approach development as a national identity. The other one, Mr. Speaker, is on budget risks. If you go to paragraph 160, the budget is it identified some of the risks. But the concern here is if you put Ukraine-Russia war as a risk, that one is a strong possibility. It will continue. For now, by January, February, it will continue. So the question is, how will revenue shortfall be managed to avoid creep in essential services? Not just to identify some of those risks, but what measures are in place to protect citizens? So in a sense, we want the budget in the future not just to be identifying risks, but to also indicate under each risk mitigating measures, alternative interventions in case that particular risk happen. And finally, Mr. Speaker, I want to touch on the area of expenditure management. Mr. Speaker, when the president took over,
I'll give you one additional minute.
Okay, sir. When the president took over, he declared 3 democratic wars: 1 war on corruption, 1 war on poverty and indiscipline. Mr. Speaker, if you go to page 11, paragraph 42, the minister identified that indeed the wage bill is skyrocketing at a pace that is not sustainable. Mr. Speaker, we need to review, we need to go to the drawing board. Sierra Leone is a small country, but when you look at the size of our cabinet is so big, bigger than even developed country. We need to cut our coat according to our size. There is a popular adage that says, Mr. Speaker, if success is another form of failure, if we don't prioritize our priorities. Mr. Speaker, having the Minister of Western Region, Minister of Western Region, having the office of this, having the office of that, will not only create job, but it will dent our wage bill and it will further create a serious problem. According to the budget, 45% of our domestic revenue goes to wages and salary, leaving only 55% for capital expenditure. That is not sustainable. That is not good for our country. Mr. Speaker, finally, on that note, let us save our youth from KUSH. Let us ensure equitable development for regions, including Makeni. Let us provide mitigation strategies for budgetaries. Let us manage expenditure with discipline. The future of this country depends on all of us. Poverty knows no color. We've seen this from the grumbling from the boys in Kenema. It's all over the country. We need to ensure we approach development with sincerity and honesty. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, sir. I want to thank the honorable member for his contribution to the debate, and I want to tell him that the interruptions are part of the parliamentary activities. Honorable Jano, can you please go to your seat now? I give the floor to the honorable from Baptist State.
Thank you
Is
very
it the
much.
grandmother, the mother, or the stepmother?
All of the above.
All three.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, honorable members. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, let me join my colleagues to thank the minister and his team for giving us this fine budget. And I also want, it's not our vote of thanks, but if you go back to paragraph 166 and 167, they stated it by thanking His Excellency for supporting them, and also the Vice President for supporting them to achieve their goal. So I believe this document must be respected. I underline it must, because the first gentleman and the second gentleman took another responsibility to join them in support of producing this. I want us to go to the thing. The first gentleman of Sierra Leone, our president, your president, and everybody's president, is the first gentleman of Sierra Leone. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, please, if you say I'm the mother, the grandmother, so please seal your lips, let us listen. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, let us go.
You expunge that particular language from the record.
Okay, they can expunge it.
Expunge it, that is not parliamentary.
Mr. Speaker, yeah, you said grandmother, so grandmother can say anything. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, let us go to the thing.
Mr. Speaker,
what is your order?
Mr. Speaker, just a clarification. The honorable member senior one said the second gentleman. That could be the gentleman from Kagboro.
The Vice President. Thank you very much. Never mind. I'm a CC debater. You cannot pull me down. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, let us go to the theme: improving the well-being and quality of life of Sierra Leoneans. They did not say SNPP. They did not say APC, but they said Sierra Leoneans. It's for everybody. So why can't we just take it for granted? It is for me and you. You have benefited and you are benefiting it as members of parliament. So it's very unfortunate to have or to hear from a very, very senior MP yesterday in naming this document to be a KUSH document. That's unfortunate. It's very unfortunate. I, from Moyamba district, I take exception to it. It's very unfortunate. It's not a KUSH document. We have never stated that they have presented.
Point of order, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I tried to explain myself yesterday about the importance or about the use of the word KUSH as an adjective to describe the budget. But Mr. Speaker,
I cannot get two people standing up.
So that is not
Mr. Speaker,
I'm calling.
Mr. Speaker,
that is not 34.
Let's permission.
We do not have that here. Please.
Mr. Speaker, let me make the record straight.
No, before then.
Please, record straight.
Honorable sir,
Mr. Speaker,
no, please.
I'm standing on 3213. Mr. Speaker, let me make this clarification, because it seems as if the use of the word KUSH is really eating on the nerves of my colleagues on the other side. But I tried to explain yesterday that the use of the word KUSH, you should not understand it or look at it from the literal meaning of KUSH, but rather
it was a metaphor that described the current economy we are facing. In other words, we have a bloated budget, just like somebody suffering from KUSH. We had an increase in inflation, just like somebody having swelling feet from KUSH. I mentioned that the public debt is increasing. Everything was, as far as the economy is concerned, is dying slowly, like somebody suffering from KUSH. Let us understand this. Thank you, Mr.
I will still continue to state that this document must be respected. It is not a KUSH document. You cannot state it as a KUSH document. It's very good because it cuts across. And I start to ask myself or to wonder, do these critics really understand the word budget? Do you understand what is called budget? Because I start to ask myself, and let me tell you, a budget, to me, my own understanding, is an estimate of income and expenditure for a set period of time to allow or provide a particular amount of money in a budget. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, I think that one is clear. I am not an economist, but you can be an economist and refusing to understand.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
You refuse to understand. Then you will just stop because you are in opposition, or you will just stop because you want to criticize. But please, I warn you again for the second time. I have warned you the last time, and I'm warning you again. Yes, oppose, criticize. That is why you're being paid. Criticize what I'm warning you. If you continue to criticize in a negative or that is not palatable, then we'll start. We have no option but to show you red card. And to be in a permanent opposition, because you are fit to be in opposition. Mr. Speaker, I stand on. I move that is 12. I therefore move that.
You should have allowed me to move.
Okay, move forward.
Mr. Speaker, honorable members. Time is 12. I move my SO5 to be suspended for the
Before you suspend SO5, can I ask the member from my back to his seat?
Thank you.
So I move that SO5 to be suspended for the business of the House to continue.
We have a second explanation.
I so second.
All in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Continue.
Mr. Speaker, that is why I said I'm not an economist. But simple definition. Go and check. That is it all. To allow the people to do their work. If you have any concern, it is your duty. Like what my colleague just stated, that he is appealing to the government. He is appealing to whoever is responsible to draw the attention. And what we are expecting here is to draw the attention of the ministry or the minister to work on what you want, because you want to come back. So you have to work. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, and I've told you, for the sake of God, the definition, you go with the definition of the budget. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, there's no need to study. I understand, I know. It is very plain, it is very simple to talk about budget. Now, Mr. Speaker, honorable members, if you don't understand again, a budget, that money that is being stated in that budget is a national cake. National cake. It's left to you and me to be part of that national cake.
Listen to the lecture.
The national cake states that it is there to share for the community, the Sierra Leonean community. And that is why we're following the theme. Talking about roads, talking about hospitals, talking about this, talking about that. It is embedded in this document. It was unfortunate yesterday again. A member of parliament from Tompolili stating that or asking, where are we? You are still in Tompolili. You are still in Tompolili. And I want to ask, don't you have councils? You don't have schools? You don't have hospitals? And this document states, they have stated funds for hospitals, funds for schools, funds for school roads. So if you want to do anything, wait for the appropriation bill. Then you can channel your problems. Or wait and make your debate. Then you draw the attention of the honorable of the minister so that they can see and reason. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, it was unfortunate again. To me, it is fine, it is nice to listen and to pay attention. But that is your problem. You don't want to learn and pay attention, so you will fail if you don't study. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, somebody mentioned again about Professor Joe Edi Ali. Joe Edi Ali in Liberia. We have to tap in some of this expertise. Joe Edi Ali has started from I can say from the lowest to professor. TC, DEC, HDC, B what? Doctor, and now professor. He knows everything. So now he's retired. Are we going to let him go? With all those things he said, with all his knowledge, why can't you make use of this expertise? So that he can teach us something, he can teach the school children. It is now nice that we should be having these historical stories to talk about Madam Yoko, to talk about Sam Milton Magai, to give us history about even the Bible, to tell us something about the hot tax war. So we need to make use of these people. So talking, frowning at him, Joe Edi Ali has been a household name in this country. I know most of you people, you studied under Honorable Joe Edi Ali. Because the books, quantitative, verbal, you name them, Joe Edi Ali was so significant. So why can't you make use of him? We have given him the opportunity. It's left to you to frown at it. But as far as the president is concerned, he has given him. And the man has accepted. He has consented. So he's ready to work for this country. Then talking about somebody again from this other honorable member mentioned about job creation. I was in the fourth parliament. Let me don't mention about the other parliaments. The fourth parliament under the president, Dr. Ernest Bai Koroma, former. He appointed members unto the last day of closing. He even appointed, it was very disgraceful, one of the appointees or the nominees. The lady said, and you are talking about building on political gains or whatever. The woman said she was, and I quote her, the women's leader. I will not name the area. And the document
Honorable member, I have been giving leaders 15 minutes when I decide. But also, we have said sources that cannot be declared in the House will be expunged from the
No, that one will not expunge it because during the appointment committee, it was there.
If we cannot get the name of the source, then we'll. It
is in the archives. I was part of the appointment committee. The woman said the hazards. The woman said she was in class 2. Class 2, in fact, they had to cancel that meeting. It was disgraceful. By the Budu, then he was the leader of government business. So talking about employment or building or that, at least if we are building, we are adding employment. But we are adding it to people who are matter, not square peg in round holes. Credible people. Mr. Speaker, honorable members.
Mr. Speaker, your judgment in this was very important.
My judgment stands.
Thank you.
Particularly,
Thank you.
Let me quickly thank, I've cleared that employment or whatever. Thank you very much, Madam Minister, and I want you to send this message to the Minister. Special thanks from the people of Kagboro, Shege, and Sendel for talking about our roads. I know he's a talk and good president. I know he will do it. That is why I want to leave legacy. Before I leave this house, by the grace of God, we'll fix that road. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, and the Magban, I want to thank him again for the Magban through Moyamba and Babato Junction and the rest. Thank you very much. At least when he mentioned about that road, everybody was crying. If you see my road, but I will not blame him, it's the climate change, rainfall, rainfall all over. If we say we are going to share, even in the house, in the homes, to share is very difficult. Even when you prepare the food and you have so many children, they have plates all over. To share, you have to make sure everybody gets. And that is why the president is doing. And that is why the minister is doing. Trying to share. So you have to appreciate. Whatever is given to you, appreciate. You hold it like Oliver Twist and you ask for more. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, I just want to profile some of the things that we want to do. We want to say if really we want to achieve these beautiful things that we have put in place. Please, the monitoring. You have to monitor. You have to be timeliness in giving these funds, in awarding these contracts. Please. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, and also quickly to the women. At least I want to say kudos to you people, and thanks to the president for the political will that he has shown to the women of this country. At least we have been recognized. And those who are traveling now, Sierra Leone is showcasing how we come about it. Even Rwanda is asking us about how we came about it within 1 year. And I want to thank you, everybody here, because that day we all worked together. Because you have aunties, you have wives, you have sisters, and you are very much predominant or pivotal in passing that. So with that, I say thank you and kudos to His Excellency. We will continue to say thanks. If a woman supports you, you are done. You are very good, because we have the power, the prayers that we pray for this country. So if he has recognized the fact that we are together, thank you very much. And you people, let us make sure we support this document. It's very good. We the honorable members, we are going to benefit from this document. So even if we are going, because your people, you have schools, you have hospitals, and continue to appeal for the good roads or the bad roads. Like Shege, it was a free port in 1906.
That's last line.
Yes. So, please, those people who don't want to appreciate or give names, try to get a good name to give documents, but not talking about KUSH. Thank you very much.
I want to thank the honorable member for my majesty.